Previously on Genshin Impact.
Yep, this is an anime game, alright. You're telling me our poor little anime boy spent literal years wandering around.
God damn it, Amber. As a result, Jean is probably the most fleshed out character in the whole of Mondstadt, but that admittedly doesn't take much either, as many of them are incredibly flat and two-dimensional.
Am I starting to lose that? I'm agreeing more and more with what Paimon is saying. Oh god.
Am I as annoying as Paimon? No wonder I'm hard stuck at 300 subscribers. Well, that didn't age well. My name is Chris, and this is part 2 of a series where I dive deep into the story of Genshin Impact as a complete newbie. Last time we finished up Mondstadt's Archon Quest, the main story, and this time we'll explore the characters of Mondstadt just a little bit more by doing their respective character quests. After all, I did call the Mondstadt cast a bit flat and uninteresting in the last video, a take I got slightly cooked for in the comment section, where I was also told that the side content of Genshin Impact actually does a lot to flesh out the characters. Let me get this out of the way first, since so many of you have asked. Yes, this is absolutely turning into a full series. I mean, how could it not with the response you guys gave the first video? I genuinely did not expect it to blow up the way it did, and the amount of passion and love in the comments have been absolutely overwhelming in the best possible way. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much. While I was editing the last video, I pretty much spent every other waking hour playing Genshin Impact, doing everything else but the story content. As a result, I'm now adventure rank 35, and our party has changed quite a bit since the last adventure. So let me catch you up to speed real quick before we get into the actual meat of this video. You may have seen Diluc hanging out in the party menu last time, and if you did, you probably wondered why I didn't use him at all. It's kinda stupid, but there is a simple reason for this. It's because I mistakenly thought he was just on loan from one of the many events the game blasts in your face in the beginning. I didn't really mention this last time, but much like other gacha games, the menu management you have to do in Genshin can sometimes be very overwhelming, especially for a new player like me. I've since figured out how to navigate it properly, and I don't want to harp on it here since this series is about the story, but I feel like it's still worth mentioning. Anyway, Diluc has taken Noelle's spot as the greatsword user and main damage dealer of the group, while another pyro character, Bennett, is our rock-solid support, both healing and boosting attack power with his elemental burst. Then we have Fischl, our resident bird lady who just does a shit ton of damage with her electric talking crow. And she even uses a bow. Imagine that, Amber. And lastly, we have Rosaria, a spear-wielding nun lady who hits hard and places an icy field with her elemental burst. I did actually want to use Kuki Shinobu in my party, but it doesn't seem like I can get the materials I need to level her up just yet, since we apparently need to go to Inazuma for that. Trust me, I tried. One other thing before we go, a lot of you have pointed out that there is actually lore to be found in the in-game voice lines that you can access from each character's page. Looking at the player character, for example, we can actually get some semblance of an idea of just what he was doing in all that time after waking up and meeting Paimon. It seems they both spent a lot of time together, and Paimon even taught him the language of Teyvat so that they could communicate, which means he became fluent in a foreign language in just a few short months. It kind of makes me wonder what teaching methods Paimon used to get those kind of results that fast.
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
What?
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
And there we go, you're up to speed. Apart from that, I don't think anything else has really changed. Okay, let's get started. Let's begin with Kaeya's story quest, as that's the one I was forced to start at the end of the last video.
This is bad. What am I going to do?
We start off with Kaeya pretty much begging us to help him with something that he can't talk to anyone else about.
If I may ask, envoy sent by the Animo God to save this mere mortal, could you spare a moment?
Ew, cut it out.
He asks us to sneakily meet him in the courtyard outside, away from prying eyes. Here he tells us that his grandfather was actually a pirate and that Kaeya inherited his signature eye patch from him.
This is no different from children inheriting their hairstyles from their parents.
Apparently his grandfather's old notes mention a secret treasure buried in the lost Arcadian ruins.
Treasure? Treasure!
There's just one problem though, Kaeya has no idea where the ruins actually are. But he does tell us that the treasure is some badass sword or another, supposedly fallen into the sea from Celestia, which is where the gods hang out. And according to Kaeya, the sword has the power to make the wielder incredibly strong, something that his grandfather actually felt himself.
With the might of the magic sword, my grandfather went on to defeat a Hydra, a silver-haired banshee, a wicked abyss dragon.
The downside is that the sword caused many a pirate to come after Kaeya's grandfather, and so he hid the sword away. Kaeya tells us about some active treasure hoarders in the areas nearby, and so we agree to help and decide to try and stop the sword from falling into the wrong hands.
You just rest assured that we are here to help.
Wow,
Paimon thinks that we should go to the Adventurers Guild to get some clues, and so we're off on our merry little pirate adventure.
What? Alright, this NPC that we need for this side quest, that we need to continue the main story, is busy with another side quest. So now I have to beat another side quest to beat this side quest to beat the main story. What the fuck?
Thank you to the people in the comments that taught me about the focus story mode, so I can avoid this stuff in the future. Too bad it doesn't really seem to work for side quests at all, so I'm still gonna have some trouble in today's episode. Anyway, we find out that the Adventurers Guild has some informant out in the wilderness that can tell us more about the treasure. So we leave the comfort of the city behind to find them. The Knights of Favonius, always so useless.
She's in trouble!
We find the informant getting harassed by hillagers and quickly dispose of them. She agrees to hand us the intel for free, seeing as we just saved her life and all.
3 6-armed giants reside in the city in the lake. 2 guard the statue, 1 the treasure.
The informant hands us a map that sends us off on the first of a few treasure hunts in this questline. Surprisingly, Paimon doesn't just immediately spill the beans on the locations this time, and we actually have to use the map and clues to find the location ourselves. That said, we can ask Kaeya to help us if we really need it.
He seems like a nerd too.
What do you mean two? We open up the clue which has a handy photo attached, and we quickly start searching the city to find the spot where it was taken. That's it?
Ooh, let me see what's inside.
The treasure chest contains a second clue, this time with a giant X on the map. It looks like it's south of the lake there. So we find the next spot rather easily. This time the chest has a dead easy cryo puzzle to solve, and it also holds the third and final clue to the treasure. We decide to skip out on telling Kaeya so we can get to the sword before anyone else does.
Anyways, Paimon just wants to borrow the sword too. No, you heard nothing. Paimon just wants to see it. Definitely not to become super mega powerful and do nothing but play.
See, I knew she was up to no good. I'm calling it right now, it's the final arc of this game. So we head to the location where we find the suspiciously boring looking Arcadian ruins waiting for us.
Is it just me? Or does it look plain?
What the f is this piece of sh?
After smashing our way through the ruins, we run into a member of the treasure hoarders by the name of Izzard.
I thank you both on behalf of the treasure hoarders.
Why do you say it like that? Izzard tells us that his gang is waiting just outside, ready to beat us up on his command.
I'm sorry to rain on your parade.
Oh, there he is. But Kaeya shows up with some knights, revealing that he already took care of them all. He also lets it slip that there was never any treasure to begin with, and that it was all an elaborate ruse to draw Izzard and his gang out from hiding.
What? No treasure?
So Izzard attempts to run away.
You're not gonna get me!
Oh no. But ends up awakening a ruin guard in the inner chambers instead, which means it's up to us to take care of business with Kaeya at our side. After the fight, the knights arrest the last member of the treasure hoarders. Kaeya also explains our critical role in this whole mess.
They are the ones who made this arrest possible. Without them spreading our fabricated intel, we wouldn't have been able to catch the treasure hoarders.
You lied to us, bro?
Paimon does not take this news well, in a display of emotion that almost made me switch over to the Japanese dub for a hot minute.
You're a bad man for lying to me.
Oh god. Kaeya calls us out for not coming to him first with the location of the sword, which... I mean, yeah, that's fair to be honest. He got us there. He played us.
Let's go.
He does want to give us a reward though. So we do get a new sword out of the whole ordeal. A lovely 3-star sword. Gee, thanks.
It suits a well-cultured and disciplined person such as yourself, wouldn't you say, Paimon?
Kaeya apologizes for deceiving us, but not in the way that we'd like.
I will not use the same method twice.
Means you'll use a different method next time?
What a wonderful day.
Then he dips. And that's the end of Kaeya's first story quest. Okay. Okay, well, we didn't really learn much about Kaeya. The whole pirate stuff was made up. So what, can I actually do the next one? That was it, I think. Damn.
Yes.
I'll talk more about my overall opinions for all of the story quests near the end of the video, so for now, let's move on to the next member of the Mondstadt gang. Next, let's visit Lisa at her workplace in the library. Let's see what Mommy has to say to us. I'm sure she'll keep it PG this time. So many lore books in here. I know people have been asking me to read them all, but like, this seems a bit much. If there's something you really want me to read, let me know in the comments. I'll read stuff if I deem it relevant, but otherwise I just can't. Maybe I'll do like a book reading episode or something at one point. After we finally finish scooping up the entire library's collection of lore, we find Lisa upstairs.
Oh, it's you, little cutie.
Well.
So, did you have something you needed? Or did you just come to see me?
Oh my god. Lisa recommends us that we pick up the Teyvat travel guide, seeing as we're new here and all. Unfortunately for us though, she tells us that the guide is currently being borrowed by someone else, and that it's actually overdue along with a lot of other books.
I really wish people would just return their books on time.
Lisa shows us another side to her character here, a surprisingly frightening side. So we have no choice really but to go with her on a quest to collect the overdue books from their loaners.
Lisa seems really scary right now. Paimon thinks it would be best if you answer her.
Yes, yes.
You really are such a considerate cutie.
We agree to meet her at the souvenir shop to get a hold of the first book. Marjorie, regarding the book you borrowed, if you don't give it back right now, I'm gonna go in there and smash up. Surprisingly, Lisa takes a less direct approach than us. And somehow we end up having to choose and buy a souvenir for her. Oh, bloomers.
This pair? Soft, puffy, and very comfortable.
Do you have some strange hobby you're not telling me about?
We ask about the various items and end up picking out an old historical scroll for her.
My. You clearly know a treasure when you see it.
After that, we finally pressure the shopkeeper enough to get the book from her, and we're off to the next one.
Please be more punctual next time.
Yes, Lisa. I will be, Lisa.
Next up is the Good Hunter, and just like last time, we're forced to choose a meal for Lisa before we bring up the book situation. God damn it, there's too many choices in this quest line. We ask the waitress and find out that Lisa seemingly always orders something vegetarian on account of her physique. So that's another small detail we learn about her character from this quest. We order a vegetable dish, which seems like the right choice.
I'm pleasantly surprised. A truly enchanting dish.
Throughout the quest, Lisa keeps talking about how much she dislikes work. That doesn't stop her from putting the pressure on Sarah, though.
I'm so sorry, Lisa.
Okay then.
Next stop is the flower shop, where we try to sneak out of making yet another choice.
Now, which book was it that has the line, "A date without flowers is a date without romance"?
No idea which book, never even heard the line before.
Take the hint.
Never mind. Your ignorance is somehow rather adorable.
I can do no wrong with Lisa. We ask around once again to get some help and end up picking a Cecilia flower for her.
Ooh la la. Such fine taste.
This time getting the book back isn't quite as easy though.
The Pale Princess and the Six Pygmies. Ring a bell?
Oh, yeah. Well, what happened was...
She's so scared. The flower lady tells us that she thinks the book she borrowed was actually stolen from her bedside table.
Uh-oh. That Lisa does some crazy things when she gets mad.
I heard that.
You're dead, Paimon. Lisa tells us that she puts elemental markers on each book in the library, allowing her to track them down should they ever go missing. So we use our elemental sight to start chasing down the thief. In a goose chase that takes us running for quite a bit of time. Oh. Aha! We track the thief down to some ruins, leading Lisa to the conclusion that the Abyss Order might be behind the stealing of the book. Just like with Stormterror's lair, this hideout has a magic seal around it to protect it from intruders. However, Lisa don't care. Let's go, Lisa. We make our way through the ruins, solving a new type of elemental puzzle on the way. They keep adding mechanics for these, this is kinda cool. And we find an Abyss Mage waiting for us at the end of the path, who seems to be our book thief in question. So we smash him up real good.
How did you find this place? It's so well hidden.
Lisa lectures the Abyss Mage on proper library etiquette, leaving the poor dude confused and in despair.
You just want the book?
You messed up. The Abyss Mage mentioned something about unearthing the secret inside the book, which has me pretty interested to read it, not gonna lie.
Return the book. This is an ultimatum.
It's where you give me the whole tomato or else. But he doesn't want to return the book, and so he suffers the consequences.
Please don't.
Naughty boys who don't do what they're told need a little punishment to keep them in line.
Yeah, Lisa is truly terrifying. We head downstairs and find the book hidden away in a chest. Lisa tells us that there's nothing unusual about the book, except for the elemental marker which she put there herself. So why exactly did the Abyss Order want it? Well, we don't find that out just yet. Lisa agrees to let us borrow the book as thanks for helping her track it down. Please don't punish me if I return it late.
There's no time limit for you.
She also expresses her interest in having us around as her personal assistant again at some point. Finally, we meet back up at the library to debrief.
Over there on the shelf. Isn't that the Teyvat travel guide? And look how many copies there are.
Yeah, turns out the Teyvat travel guide wasn't even loaned out. Lisa simply used it as an excuse to get us to come with her. Why are we getting played by all of these characters? Like, what the f... But at least we get a copy to take with us. That marks the end of Lisa's story quest, but let's quickly take a look at these books before we move on. First up is the Teyvat Travel Guide, which, as the name suggests, give us some info on each of the different areas around Mondstadt. It's written by someone named Alice, who gives her personal thoughts on the areas as well. Highlights from this one involve a snippet about Windrise, the area with the huge tree where we talked to Venti earlier. Apparently someone named Vanessa ascended here, and the notion of ascension is actually something I forgot to include in the last video. But yeah, as I understand it, it basically means that people with visions can eventually ascend to godhood. Which means that Vanessa is most likely one of those, though I am not quite sure. Another interesting tidbit is found in the section about Stormterror's lair, where we learn a little bit more about the Tyrant King that ruled over Mondstadt long ago. Apparently the king tried to control his people's lives, and the center of the ruins once held the tower where the tyrant lived. Intriguing. Finally, let's take a look at the book the Abyss Order was after, The Pale Princess and the Six Pygmies. The book tells the story of the faraway land of Night, a region covered in darkness. It also mentions the mysterious Night Mother, a figure with no heart or mouth, who's constantly watching over and punishing the citizens of her domain. As a result, her people sought refuge in the Moonlight Forest, which was the only place in the land of Night outside of the Night Mother's reach, seeing as the moon's rays actually shine here, which she despises. We also learned that the people of the Kingdom of the Moonlight Forest had fair skin, light-colored hair, and bright blue eyes. They were a beautiful people, and the book speculates that it might just be a result of the constant nourishment of the moonlight. It's all interesting stuff, I gotta say, and I wonder if we'll bump into any of these people or the Night Mother herself at some point in our journey. Anyway, it's time to move on to something slightly less interesting. Amber's story quest starts off with us running into her near the top of Mondstadt City. She's apparently been looking for us and tells us that it's high time that we get ourselves a gliding license if we're gonna keep flying around the city.
A gliding license? What's that?
You've been gliding all over the place. Everyone's noticed.
No shit, you gave it to us. To get the license, we'll have to go through an exam, and lucky us, Amber has volunteered to be our examiner.
Do not challenge the authority of Examiner Amber.
She hands us a gliding instruction manual and tells us to study up before the exam. Turns out it's not as dry as we expected.
When the first wisp of wind brushed across the land, birds that yearned for the sky had wings, but no way to fly.
The instruction manual tells the story of how the Anemo god Barbados teaches some grounded birds how to fly by jumping into certain death.
To the Anemo god they went to gleefully say, "We understand now. All we needed was a stronger wind to fly."
What the?
Anemo
Put
god
that
said.
away. FBI's gonna be knocking any day now. The moral of the story seems to be that courage is the essential quality you need to reach your dreams. Guess the gliding exam is gonna be a bit more interpretive than we first thought if this is the material it's based on. Anyway, we head off to find Amber, who's waiting for us at the top of a cliff. Turns out we had a bit more fun with the instruction manual than she did back in the day, and she finds this kind of odd.
Oh, shoot. This is the storybook I used to read as a kid.
God damn it, Amber. She admits that she did find some inspiration for gliding in that storybook though, and that it pretty much gave her the courage to follow her dreams of becoming both an outrider and the gliding champion of Mondstadt as well.
But anyway, let's get back to the exam.
She gives us our first test, testing our ability to glide through a bunch of wind rings, which we nail kind of easily. The exam's not over yet though, and so we head back to Mondstadt to continue our gliding trials. This time we get to go a bit faster.
Holy shit.
After that, we just have one more trial left to go, so we get started and finish up at the Knights of Favonia's HQ.
Windborne Traveler, you are required to land at once by the order of the Knight.
We get scolded by Otto here for gliding illegally and are about to get arrested when Amber swoops in to clear up the mistake. Turns out the Knights are a bit on edge lately, as there seems to be a glide-happy criminal harassing the citizens. A criminal who goes by the name of Raptor.
Raptor? Who's that?
The Knights actually tried to catch Raptor by luring him inside the cathedral with a precious artifact. But they messed up and the artifact got stolen instead. So just like in Lisa's story quest, we now get to follow Raptor's trail due to the elemental marker the Knights placed on the artifact in preparation for this outcome.
If you need help chasing down a gliding criminal, I'm the one for the job.
Otto tells us that the trail went cold near the village of Springvale, and so we head there to catch ourselves a criminal.
Use your elemental sight and keep your eyes peeled for clues.
We start tracking with our elemental sight and find a torn piece of his glider, from which Amber deduces that the criminal is no longer airborne. In fact, Amber does quite a bit of deducing from the bits and pieces we pick up, showcasing her admittedly impressive skill as an outrider.
It appears that the elemental markings point this way.
Ooh, what's that? Looks like something's going on up ahead. it!
We hear signs of a struggle on the road ahead and head up there to save an unfortunate villager from getting harassed by hilichurls. The villager thanks us and tells us about a hilichurl camp not too far from here, where some dude apparently crash landed earlier and scared the hilichurls out on the road.
He was holding on to something. Must have been heavy because he couldn't glide in a straight line to save his life.
The heavy object matches the description of the stolen artifact, and so we continue on ahead. Here we run into some shady looking humans who Amber mentions also seem to have wind gliders, even if we can't really see them ourselves. We reach what appears to be Raptor's hideout, and once again Amber makes a deduction.
Raptor must have realized the markings would give away his position and sent his minions to slow us down. He won't get away with this. After him!
So we head inside to find him. The inside of the hideout has a ton of bad guys waiting for us, so Amber thinks this is the perfect time to finish off our gliding exam in custom-made style.
Besides, the normal version of the exam wouldn't be fit for the hero of Mondstadt himself. So, what do you say?
Well, that's cool. She acknowledges that I actually beat the main quest already. I think I could do this like way before the main quest. We agree, and this leads us to yet another unique dungeon design where we get to drop bombs on a bunch of hilichurls while gliding. Would make a risky joke here, but I do want to get monetized at some point, so. I gotta say, I'm a bit impressed that they hide these unique set pieces away in optional content. After massacring pretty much everyone in here, we get to the second half of the dungeon that once again teaches us yet another puzzle mechanic. We reach a broken bridge with seemingly no way to proceed.
Amber! Over there!
At last, we come face to face with Raptor, though he's a bit farther away than we would have liked.
Oh, little girl, why don't you run along home now and let your leader deal with this?
Raptor keeps on mocking us, and Amber deduces that the only way he could have possibly gotten over there is to just go for it. She recaps the moral of the storybook for us before getting all inspirational.
The wind says I will make it, and that's good enough for me.
So we take a leap of faith, and whoop-de-doo, turns out there was a hidden wind current to help us across after all.
The wind takes care of those who have courage. Now sit still and await your arrest, like a good little boy.
Got him!
We finish smacking up Raptor and his goons.
Here's something special.
Oh my god, so bad. And celebrate our success with Amber, who explains her reasoning to us before letting an interesting detail about her character slip.
It was just like in my first gliding exam. I kinda missed that nervous rush in the exams I've done since then.
Sorry. Paimon thought you said you passed no problem. What do you mean exams since then?
Yup, turns out Amber has actually gotten her license revoked several times for breaking the gliding rules in Mondstadt.
I must have taken the exam about 15 times altogether.
God damn it, Amber. I feel sorry for Jean. Amber rushes off with Raptor and tells us to meet her back at the cathedral so we can finally get our license. So we head back there and find Amber inside.
Congratulations! Here is your gliding license. You're officially legal now. Yay!
Ayo. She invites us to join the next gliding championship as she doesn't seem to have much competition for the title. So we decide to humble her a bit. You won't stand a chance of winning if you sign me up.
Whoa, fighting talk.
And with that, we finish up Amber's story quest. We've just got one left now, but it is a bit of a doozy, so let's check it out. For the last story quest, we hit up the local tavern where the bartender tells us about a local urban legend going around.
It's the tale of the Darknight Hero.
The Darknight Hero is a figure shrouded in mystery, a Cape Crusade, a local vigilante who values justice. No one knows his identity, which just adds to his appeal even more.
It's a good way to get the ladies' attention. Any guy in the tavern could tell you that.
The bartender tells us to ask around in the plaza if we're interested in finding out more. So we head out there to gather some... Margaret is busy! What the fuck? So after playing some card game or another, we finally free up Margaret so she's ready to talk.
Look no further. It's me. I am the Darknight Hero.
Nah, it's not really her. Margaret does suggest that the Darknight Hero must be someone rich, since he has the time and energy to spend every single night on the streets of Mondstadt.
People only start worrying about spiritual fulfillment once they have enough material wealth.
She suggests that we talk to the soldiers at the city gate, since they must have seen if someone has been coming and going at night. So we head out there to question some knights, which turns out to be a worthwhile time investment.
In fact, I'm one of the few who has seen him with my own 2 eyes.
Great! This is the guy we need to talk to!
Hold on, is this that same sexy sounding dude from Kaeya's questline?
I thank you both on behalf of the treasure hoarders. Suddenly I heard something.
Guess he changed his ways. Good for you, man. Except he's actually still a bit of a dingleberry, as he tells us that while out patrolling one night, he saw a bunch of evildoers and decided to hide from them.
Ed, you're supposed to be a guard!
That was when he appeared.
But he did manage to get a look at the Darknight Hero swooping in to handle them instead. He doesn't really tell us much though, apart from the fact that the vigilante was apparently dressed in all black. After the incident, the hero disappeared into thin air, and the knight went to search for any signs of him at the Knights of Favonius HQ, seeing as he seems to have a strong sense of justice and all. But there was no sign of anyone leaving or entering that night.
Why would someone like that not want to join the Knights?
Who do we know who has a strong sense of justice and is not in the Knights of Favonius? The knight then suggests that we go talk to the flower girl, as she was apparently rescued by the hero at some point. So we head over there and...
My hero!
Yeah, she's a bit of a fangirl. She mentions that she previously had a crush on Diluc, but after getting rescued by not Batman, she's starting to think that her feelings might have shifted to someone a bit more heroic. She also tells us that she saw a flash of fire on the night of her rescue.
It felt so familiar.
So let's put together the clues real quick. We know that the Darknight Hero is rich, he's dressed in black, he is not a Knight of Favonius, he uses fire as his element, and he has a strong sense of justice. I wonder who it could be. Nope, I got nothing. So we decide to wait for nightfall to see this hero with our own eyes. Let's go, Diluc!
The Darknight Hero is Master Diluc?
No way! Dude, he's so cool. What was that? Yup, I'm as blown away as you are. Turns out the Darknight Hero is actually Diluc.
Darknight Hero? Sounds awfully derivative to me.
You're telling me. Diluc has never heard the name before, which doesn't make much sense to me, seeing as he literally owns a tavern and works behind the bar.
I do not concern myself with idle chatter.
Anyway, Diluc tells us that he's been dealing with the Abyss Order, who seems to be increasing their efforts lately. But that doesn't mean that Diluc is gonna seek help from someone else, like the Knights.
The Knights are, for the most part, an utterly incompetent bunch.
Here he goes again. We try to ask him about his past with the Knights, but he doesn't want to tell us quite yet, much to our dismay.
I would prefer not to discuss it.
I would, please.
Diluc asks us to keep his identity a secret before a bunch of hilichurls show up. But since Diluc doesn't seem to concern himself with Cannon Fodder either, he leaves them for us to handle. Afterward, Huffman of the Knights of Favonius shows up and asks us just what the heck is going on here. So we try to cover for Diluc as best we can.
Nothing. Zilch. Unless you're looking for the Darknight Hero, in which case...
Shut it, Paimon!
The Darknight Hero? You saw him?
We try to assume the mantle of the Darknight Hero for ourselves, but Huffman doesn't quite buy it. He still lets us go though, and asks us to come by the Knights of Favonius HQ later to talk more about the vigilante situation. So we head up there to see what he has for us.
Huffman!
He shows us a threatening letter from the Abyss Order addressed to the Darknight Hero, mentioning a full-scale attack on Mondstadt's main gate in the near future.
This is a war declaration from the Abyss Order to the Darknight Hero.
The Knights let us know that they really want to get in contact with the hero so that they can coordinate a response to this threat to the city. And so we quickly head to Diluc's winery in the countryside to let him know what's going on. It is kind of jarring doing Diluc's side quest while also playing as Diluc. That's just gacha games for you, I guess. Ludonarrative dissonance at its best. Wait. I'm Diluc. No, I'm Diluc. Anyway, turns out Diluc already knows everything that happened back at Favonius HQ on account of the winery's intelligence network, as he calls it.
What?
He once again rules out joining forces with the Knights, as them knowing his identity will only be more trouble than it's worth in the future.
After all, no powerful organization wishes to be outdone by someone from the outside.
Instead, he tells us that he wants to decipher the obscured portions of the war declaration from earlier, as he thinks it's a cipher that the Abyss Order uses to communicate with each other. He also lets it slip that he's been battling the Abyss Order for such a long time that he's really starting to get on their nerves.
As the saying goes, heroes and villains are two sides of the same coin.
Turns out Diluc has already located one of their strongholds, and he asked us to meet him there. So we head in and start smashing up the place. For what is now the third time in this video, an Abyss Mage is waiting at the end of the ruins. Here we get to see a darker side of Diluc, as he shows us just how far he's willing to go to get the information he wants.
It burns!
Let's see how long it takes for you to crack.
Stop! I beg you! Make it stop!
Do it again.
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God. Swear to me!
Jesus, Diluc. The poor guy finally confesses that the Abyss Order will march on the city gates at 10 PM tomorrow. And with that, we finish up this surprisingly dark chapter of the story.
Yes, Master Diluc, sir. Anything you say, Master Mr. Diluc, sir?
Turns out Paimon finally learned some respect from watching Diluc mercilessly incinerate that guy. So that's yet another W for Diluc to take home with him. He asked us to go back to the Knights and to keep him posted on what they're up to. And so we head back to Mondstadt City. Turns out the Knights just held a meeting to come up with a plan.
Find out the Darknight Hero's true identity and offer him our protection.
But this offer of protection is actually just a ruse to keep the vigilante off the streets, so he can no longer undermine the Knights' authority and position in the eyes of the people. Having some symbol they know protect them is not a bad thing though. It's not all bad though. The plan also actually involves protecting the hero from the Abyss Order's clutches, as losing him would only strengthen the Order further.
There's no need to despair, Huffman.
Kaeya shows up and presents his plan. Turns out he actually has suspicions of Diluc, and so he orders Huffman to keep an eye on the red-haired Giga Chad while he works the tavern to make sure that he doesn't leave on any vigilante business.
It's just a hunch. I've been known to be wrong on occasion.
I'm gonna talk about this in more detail later, but I like this questline a lot as it both gives us insight on Diluc and the way that the Knights of Favonius thinks and operates. Anyway, it's back to the winery for us. Furnish Diluc with the information, that's one way of putting it. Once again, he already knows everything that's going on, rendering our role in this entirely useless so far.
The Knights of Favonius are responding more or less as I had anticipated.
He has an idea to circumvent Huffman's surveillance, and before he'll tell us more, we're sent out to collect some mist flowers. Somehow I didn't have any of these already, and so it took me way too long to find some as I went in all the wrong directions. Maybe down there by the beach? Oh, there we go, okay. Yep, turns out they are literally just hanging out right next to the winery. We head back to the winery with flowers in hand and hand them over to Diluc and Lucia, Connor, so that they can make some fancy concoction or another.
Elemental bait.
Wow!
Diluc asks us to try it by sprinkling it on the ground, which summons a whole bunch of slimes that we quickly dispose of. After that, Diluc finally decides to fill us in on his plan.
The plan is... And so, I expect it to all go down without a hitch.
Yup, I didn't edit that. This marks the first time in the game where I've seen a disconnect between the playable character and us as the player, as Mr. Anime in-game now has more information about the plan than we do. I'm not saying it's either good or bad really, I just found it interesting as it's a different approach than what we've seen so far.
I have persevered alone from the start.
He's so cool. Diluc makes it clear that this is his fight and his alone, but we're gonna help out anyways. If the price is right.
Hey, don't be so cheeky.
After that, we head to the tavern to commence the plan. And just as expected, Huffman is already there watching over Diluc.
To what do I owe the pleasure at this hour?
Diluc gives us the sign, and so we make up an excuse to get out of the tavern and plant some slime juice at the city's side gate.
Whoa, you used all of it. This is gonna be pretty epic.
Back at the tavern, we arrive just in time to hear that Huffman seems to have some scruples about Kaeya's way of doing things. But Paimon interrupts just in time to stop us from actually learning anything more detailed.
We're back. Is my apple juice ready?
Just as planned, a city guard shows up and calls on Huffman to help with the massive slime attack. Huffman doesn't really fancy abandoning his post though, and so Diluc uses this opportunity to once again take a massive dump on the Knights.
So this is how the Knights of Favonius conduct themselves in a crisis.
Ooh.
The Abyss Order is encroaching on the city gates, and your response is to sit here drinking wine? It's like I've always said, the Knights are not to be trusted.
Huffman finally gives in and asks us to watch over Diluc in his place. And so we head out to the city's main gate to face the Abyss Order head on. Let's go. After taking care of the army led by yet another Abyss Mage, we hurry back to the tavern so we can get there before Huffman arrives. We make it just in time before he shows up and expresses his surprise that the Abyss Order's army was seemingly just a bunch of slimes.
Perhaps the Knights' true calling is to be slime exterminators. Who knows? Domestic pest control may turn out to be a more valuable use of your resources.
Jesus, he's laying into them every chance he gets.
Master Diluc, please.
Huffman notices us sweating and gets mighty suspicious, so he asks the other customers in the bar if they saw us leave. To our surprise, a random patron actually covers for us.
No, he's been behind the bar this entire time.
I see. How odd.
Diluc reveals that he predicted Huffman's likely suspicion and filled the tavern with his employees from the winery to secure the perfect alibi.
They're all in on it?
Let's go.
Not all of them. Or should I say, not all of us.
Turns out Kaeya has been here the entire time, watching the show, as he calls it. Surprisingly, Kaeya tells us that he won't snitch on us to the other Knights. What follows is a conversation so filled with tension and suggestions of a troubled past history between Diluc and Kaeya that I simply can't bring myself to talk over it. So here it is.
I have no interest in exposing secrets. I was just curious to see how far Mondstadt's Darknight Hero would really go. and you did not disappoint.
I have nothing to prove to you.
Oh, naturally.
Sorry, we're closing. Please see yourselves out.
Just one last thing before I go.
It had better be the very last thing.
I feel strangely comforted by the fact you now have an assistant, Diluc.
Dude, I want to know more about what's happened between those two. That conversation was really interesting. To absolutely no one's surprise, Diluc doesn't really want to tell us more about his relationship with Kaeya. Instead, he thanks us.
I'm in the habit of working alone, but I did enjoy having your assistance this time.
Anything for you, Master Diluc. And there we go, that's the final available story quest done and dusted. I think this was definitely my favorite one, and not just because it had Diluc in it. But I'll tell you more about that in my final thoughts section coming up next. Alright, so there might have been a few more story quests. I've chosen to bundle them together here as they're not really relevant to the main story, at least not yet, and so I'll go over them just a bit quicker than the others. It's time for a lightning round. Xiangling is an esteemed chef from Liyue who we happened to meet in the woods, while I was actually trying to do Amber's story quest. It's a bit too close for my liking. Xiangling is actually one of the strongest pyro characters out there, especially if you're going all free to play. But while she's amazing for combat, her story quest here is a bit of a drag in my opinion. Basically, we hunt some meat for her so she can cook, only to get scolded for it by a person from the village of Springvale nearby.
This is the boar's natural habitat. You can't hunt them here.
So we head to the village to apologize along with Xiangling, where we find out that the village chief wants her to make Springvale popular with her cooking. Though he does seem to disagree with the ingredients she wants to add. She talks to the local chef and they have another disagreement on the way the food should be prepared.
That depends on the ratio of fat to meat. I would never marinate the meat in it.
You're going all out on the trimmings and doing no justice to the meat whatsoever.
With top-notch meat from Springvale.
Dude, stop talking about your meat. So they arrange a cooking competition and we help Xiangling gather some ingredients, which include extinct boar and lots of chili. We also help out a villager in front of the dungeon we head into and find out that he's actually been frozen for several hundred years before thawing up now, which makes his return to Springvale slightly awkward.
Olaf, do you want to come and watch a cooking competition?
Dude, let the man
Brooke told
mourn.
me about you.
He lost everything and everyone he ever knew. The rest of the storyline is the cooking competition itself, where we help Xiangling win, and that's it really. Another slightly more interesting character we meet out in the wilderness is Razor, an electricity-wielding boy who's been raised in the forest by wolves. Yep, we've got both Batman and the Tarzan character in this episode. Razor swoops in to rescue us from a bunch of slimes hanging around. Ooh. Great sword wielder. Let's go. We learn that Razor lives out here all alone with his wolf friends, and that he likes the Knights of Favonius, but that they also seem to always mess things up.
Knights of Favonius? I have nothing to say about them. We have different views.
We hunt some meat for him, and he tells us that there is a certain member of the Knights that always seems to bring chaos with her whenever she tries to help.
The red one. Bernie girl.
Oh shit, Amber. After that, he dips. So we meet up with Amber outside of the Mondstadt city gate. But to our surprise, she has no idea who Razor even is, and so she doesn't really seem to fit the description of Red Bernie Girl after all.
That ain't you?
Bernie? What are you talking about?
She tells us that wolves have been attacking some carts near Drunkard Gorge, which is very unusual as the wolves from Mondstadt usually stick around their own turf in Wolvendom. So we get roped in by Amber and decide to head up there to investigate.
Look, up ahead! Something's happening!
That ain't no wolf pack.
It seems the rumors were unfounded and it was actually just a bunch of hilly churls causing some chaos.
The wolves are even worse.
Or not, as the villager we rescued tells us that wolves attacked Springvale earlier this morning. We head up there to see what all the fuss is about.
The wolves frighten him so badly that he's paralyzed with fear.
That really is awful.
No one seems to be physically injured, but the wolves did give the villagers a scare. They don't tell us much, and so we head around the village to investigate ourselves. We find some wolf claws and fur around town, and Amber tells us that the color of the fur doesn't really match the wolves hanging out in Mondstadt. We also find something else. A seed.
It's the seed of a wolf hook berry. Look, there are little hooks on the seed.
These berries are native to Mondstadt's areas, and Amber deduces that there might be some new foreign wolves encroaching on the local wolf pack's territory. So we head back to the villagers, who are all sharpening their pitchforks, getting ready to attack the wolves on their own turf. Next, we stop by Wolvendom to meet up with Razor, who confirms what we already suspected.
No, this girl also red, but not so Bernie. Like other girl.
Razor suddenly smells wolf blood nearby due to his heightened senses, so we follow the trail and get a little lore drop on the way.
Lupercal's family fate gave me. When wolf accepts human as its own, or human accepts wolf, that is Lupercal.
Sounds like gibberish to me.
We find out that Razor got the name of Lupercal from someone he refers to as the guardian of this land. Interesting. Anyway, we keep following the trail and find an injured wolf lying on the ground. It seems the villagers started their attack unaware that they are taking it out on the wrong wolves.
A black wolf in his pack.
not from here. They tried to take over land. They broke the code.
Whose code?
Guardian of this land.
We keep going and stumble into something that looks like a huge ruin. Whoa, what is... Here we find another wolf and attempt to stop its bleeding with some seeds we picked up nearby. When we come back, Razor and the villagers share some choice words.
What are you doing here?
Revenge.
The villagers start accusing us of siding with the wolves, and Razor tries to make it clear that it wasn't his pack that actually attacked Springbok.
What is this disturbance to which I awaken? This is no offering to Boreas. Not only do you come from my kind, so too do you fail to recognize your own transgression.
Oh shit, what is this? This is Boreas, the fabled guardian of this land, and he's mighty pissed about the villagers attacking the local wolves. So we have a pretty sick boss fight with him. Razor once again intervenes and saves us from Boreas' sharp fangs. After the guardian calms down, he tells Razor to let the wolves handle the turf war themselves, and that he has to remember that he is a human first and foremost. Something that doesn't sit quite right with our tiny Electro boy.
I am not like them. I don't belong.
You are no wolf.
Finally, Boreas tells us that we can train with him anytime we want, which is really cool. And then he dips. Amber asks Razor to come back to the city with her, but he politely declines. It seems like he needs some time to come to terms with what Boreas told him.
Thank you, traveler. Paimon and other red girl.
Hey!
And that finally marks the end of all the character quests I have available right now, except for one in Liyue. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the Paimon of it all. So, was I wrong about Mondstadt's characters? Well, yeah, I kinda was. Not because Mondstadt's storytelling suddenly turns into some dark and tragic Shakespearean character study, but because I did judge the cast almost entirely on the first impression I got of them. And it's beginning to become very clear to me that Genshin is simply not built that way. That being said, what I did say in the last video I don't think was entirely unfair. If you only play the Archon Quest in Mondstadt, a lot of these characters do come across as exactly what I called them last time, that is flat and uninteresting. They show up, they do their job, they speak their dialogue to move the story forward, and then they politely step out of frame so the plot can keep moving. But what making this video made very clear to me is that Genshin doesn't put much of its character depth in the main story. At least not in Mondstadt. Instead, it hides it. Sometimes behind optional quests, sometimes it's in the books, sometimes it's behind voice lines hidden away in some menu or another. But once you actually start engaging with that side content, the Mondstadt cast starts to feel just a little bit more human. While I do think that we still really didn't learn much about him here, Kaeya went from the smug cavalry captain to someone who seemingly has no scruples manipulating the truth to get what he wants. I'm not gonna lie, my main interest in this character lies in the troubled backstory that's hinted at between him and Diluc, which seems to be more than just a little bit spicy, and I can't wait to learn more about that. So while I did put Kaeya in B tier last time, which might have been a bit generous if I'm honest, I feel like he definitely earned that position this time around. Lisa went from the flirty librarian mommy character to genuinely unsettling in places, and it seems that she's just way smarter and way more dangerous than she lets on. Like with Kaeya, there are hints of a much deeper character here, which is definitely her appeal for me. Yup, definitely the only appeal. So I actually do think she deserves a raise to B tier this time around. What does the B stand for, you ask? Then there's Amber, who I think a lot of people write off early, including myself. She actually ended up being one of the most consistent characters here, and her story quest was surprisingly enjoyable to play. She's both optimistic and capable, but also makes some goofy mistakes here and there, as we get to see in her quest. She also gets some bonus points here, as I accidentally stumbled upon the wanted posters of the main character's sister, which is a very cool detail to find out in the world, since she actually did promise to hang them up when we first met her. Amber's still a bit too one note for my liking though, but from what I saw here I think we can safely place her a step above Worst Girl tier, leaving only Paimon stranded down there now. Congratulations to Amber. And then there's Diluc. I mean, what a quest. Easily my favorite for several reasons. Diluc's superhero story didn't just flesh him out. It actually gave us a deeper insight into the Knights of Favonius and how they navigate Mondstadt's politics as well. And this shows us that Mondstadt really isn't this perfect city that it seems to be on the surface. Instead, there are actually quite a few cracks hiding beneath the city's cheerful exterior. Diluc's storyline is darker, more morally ambiguous, and far more interesting than I ever expected for something that I thought was just a Batman gag quest. Razor's story as well, with him both struggling with his identity and the way that Mondstadt treats outsiders. All of this starts pointing towards a region that has some real tension hidden underneath. So not only did the story quests make me like the characters more, but they also made me appreciate the whole region of Mondstadt more as a whole. So yeah, I'll admit it. I was wrong to judge these characters so harshly so early. But I also don't think I was necessarily mistaken to want that kind of character depth to begin with. I suspect quite a few people won't touch the side content unless they have to, and I see now that that's really quite a shame, because there is so much hidden depth here. Anyway, I'm still gonna make up stupid theories and speculations as I continue to explore Teyvat, and hopefully you find these entertaining even though they might be dead wrong. I'm very curious to see if and how the storytelling evolves in the later regions, but that's a journey for another video. For now, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for the comments, the corrections, and for absolutely roasting me sometimes when I almost definitely deserve it. I cannot wait to find out what's waiting around the next corner of Genshin's world. I hope you'll want to come with me on that journey, and if you do, I'll see you all in Liyue.